Hi, I'm Heinbach and it's good to have you back. I'm standing in the Musikwinkel, a place in Germany where since the 17th century musical instruments have been built. After the Second World War, this is where most of the instruments from socialist East Germany were made, such as this, the Vermona DRM, the Ostblock 808. This drum machine almost fits better into our time than 1987. It's all analog in sound generation, has MIDI, trigger outs and a 32-step sequencer, which makes it double as good as the Western machines. There's very little information on it out there, so I decided to go on a research trip. And the story I discovered is fascinating. When it comes to instruments made in formerly socialist countries, it seems to me to be a story of in spite of. In spite of an economy that prioritized the army and heavy industries way more than consumer goods, and in spite of a planned economy that dictated who could build what, instruments were made. And something as high-end as this became a source of pride for the DDR, and it became an export hit within the Warsaw Pact. But not for long. Only 2 years after its release, the wall came down. And in 1992, the Treuhand, the agency in charge of privatization of the former state-run companies, shut down VEB Klingenthal. But the name Vermona lives on.
This is a rhythm machine that my father used to make music on his own. He made music in a Tanzkapelle, top 40 band in the GDR. So you have a simple string ensemble inside and some bass line. He made more versions of this kind of machine. I think at least 3, maybe 4 different versions. The old DRM was made for the dance musicians.
For the dance musicians.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're not the dance musicians.
Not dance.
We think of techno, but this is like for entertainers basically. Yes, exactly, top 40 bands.
I'm sure that there is some similarity to the DRM, same circuitry inside.
This is a direct sibling, the Alpha. Okay, if we can, I would love to try to see if it works.
The 3 guys who founded this company, the company HDB Electronic, were formerly in the GDR in the development section of the old Vermona. That was Thomas Buchheim, Lothar Dietrich, and my father, Bernd Haller. The company name comes from the family names H for Haller, D for Dietrich, and B for Buchheim. The old Vermona synthesizer was designed by my father in Schöneck at the old Vermona. A little bit of this as well. I think the circuits for the drums were made by my father, but not the design for the sounds, but the electronic behind.
And you took over the family business now?
From the founders, Thomas Buchheim is still here in the company, and myself now. Ich tue es halt einfach mal reinstecken.
Nicht brennen, es läuft. Ah! Oh.
Und ich schätze, das Problem schaltet die Leiterplatten an.
Oh no.
Das ist alles handgemachtes Zeug, das kann nicht mehr funktionieren.
Keine Chance.
Oh, das hat einen guten Geruch noch hier. Schau mal, die Einstellriegler, da kann doch im Prinzip nichts mehr.
Nee.
But we get drum samples from it.
Hast du schon gemacht? Es lebt weiter. More or less by an accident, the name Vermona landed here in our company because there was no successing company.
First product that I got to know from you was also called Vermona DRM, right? Was that the first?
DRM1, yes.
DRM1.
Yes. That was the first one, I think 2000 or 2001. We branded it as Vermona unit, but the DRM1 was on the market since I think mid of the 90s, and 95, 96 or so. It was formerly branded by MUM.
And now you're at DRM 4, right?
Über die Jahre merkt man sich das halt, wie das klingen muss.
Das ist dann die wievielte Maschine, die durch deine Hände geht?
Wir hatten ein Jubiläum vor 2,5 Wochen, habe ich den 2000. gebaut.
Okay. I'm very curious to play the two together. One thing that I read is that it was actually possible to make more than the regular income as a musician if you had enough gigs.
That was paid, you know.
By the side.
Yeah, because the official, I don't know the rate, but it was maybe 6 mark or 8 mark per hour, and but that was not paid. Paid was much more, and that was paid directly.
Okay. Especially people in Berlin, they started selling like Yamaha DX7, and it would cost like 30,000 Deutsche Mark.
Yeah.
Like that was like 3 years of a normal worker's wage or something.
That is the reason why we did not use Vermona at the very beginning.
Oh.
Because of we didn't know if it's a good brand, because the East German musicians had to use Vermona. They wanted to use Moog, they wanted to use Yamaha and Roland, whatever, but they hadn't. The most of them hadn't the chance to get it, and for them, Vermona was the brand, and that was the reason why most of the musicians in the GDR hated Vermona.
That's the first of these preset drum machines that by design allows you to press multiple rhythms together. Usually they jump out, but this allows you to press as many as you like and combine all of them. Ha! Perfect timing.
It is curious to see a planned economy at work creating instruments. You get exactly one synthesizer, one string machine and one drum machine. And that's it, now go play your tariff gig. Compare that to the unfathomable amount of synthesizers made in Italy alone at the time. It was not a lack of skill that prevented more instruments being built. Bernd Haller demoed his first synthesizer in 1975, but the party didn't think that necessary for GDR musicians. So instead, he built them privately in his basement for himself and other musicians. And when the political leadership decided we need a synthesizer, he had the design done. By that point in time, it was rather outdated. Yet, playing these instruments today, I find they have a certain charm and a uniqueness to them. The Vermona DRM that sent me on this journey is very much a piece of its time, but I think it still holds up today. Its 32-step sequencer is its biggest plus, as you think differently when you have more than 16 steps available. The sounds are unique and have an understated elegance to them, though you can't change them at all. The MIDI implementation is slightly wonky, as we discovered when trying to hook it up to the new DRM Mark IV. But there are EPROMs that fix those problems. Especially if you have the rare single-out cable, the DRM is a viable studio tool. So while it might have been 5 years out of date when it was released, the TR-909 is from 1983 for comparison, today it can still shine. If you are on my Patreon, you will get a sample pack and music from this video. Patreon is also the best way to help me make more ambitious videos like this, which cost more than I will ever make back from ad revenue. If you have more background to the DRM, instruments or music in the DDR, let me know in the comments. Every bit of knowledge helps. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye.